You know, the vaccine is our enemy. Oh, sorry, I'll start again. There we go. That'll run tonight.
But a key message also is just because you're vaccinated, you can still get infected and be infectious.
That you should remember that the consequences of the vaccines are worse than any of the potential side effects.
Brushing alongside somebody can transfer the virus. That's how contagious it is.
If you are at Adelaide Oval and the ball comes towards you, my advice to you is to duck and just do not touch that ball.
Resilience, strength, character, determination. That's what beats a virus. Never fear.
You can go to work, but you take your restrictions with you. I'll get back to you on the phone number before this media conference is over, Richard.
This Kappa variant, as it's now called, is not the most infectious, but it is more infectious.
This is stranger-to-stranger transmission. They're brushing past each other in a small shop. They're going around a display home. They're looking at phones in a Telstra shop. This is relatively speaking, public. They don't know each other's names. And that's very different from where we've been before.
This vaccine just keeps mutating. If you do or don't have symptoms, it's critical. That is how the long way of getting out of this situation of the global pandemic is all about. Vaccines as our passport out.
If you are not vaccinated and you catch COVID, you could die.
I think it's time to consider linking being vaccinated to certain freedoms.
But, I would encourage everybody out there offered a vaccine. Don't ask any questions, really. Please take it.
Going into a venue without a QR code is like driving a car without a seatbelt.
One of the really challenging issues with COVID is that 75% of people don't actually transmit and 25% of people do.
All vaccines are safe.
Well, the more Australians that are vaccinated, the more freedoms we'll have.
They may or may not have had. But the current evidence doesn't suggest a likely association. We do have to remember, pardon me, but...
The message of today is roll up your sleeve for WA. Roll up for WA.
We don't actually fully know if you're vaccinated, whether you are then able to transmit.
It's worrying health officials who call mass vaccinations the only path to a return to normalcy. Almost 4 months into the vaccination effort, providers are beginning to run out of people who want to be immunized.
As doubt results in deserted clinics.
What was it like in there?
Empty. It is not the end of this pandemic. It's not. It just isn't.
It is voluntary.
It's voluntary. It's voluntary.
Without us having to make it mandatory.
It's both free and voluntary.
Voluntary will be voluntary.
Very rare finding. As I've said before, your chances of winning lotto are much, 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 much higher.
One of the things about COVID is it writes its own rules.
The QR code is our only way to get ahead of the virus. So how are you changing your behaviour?
I'm not.
Are you still hugging people?
Yeah, hugging them, kissing them and everything.
Don't you think that's dangerous?
No, not at all. Why would it be dangerous?
Because it's spreading a deadly virus.
It's not. It's not deadly. It's just like any other virus. Why does it matter? No, it's killing old people. 99. A person that's 99 years old is dying.
Did you realise there's a lockdown?
Can't wait for some of these names. This is going to be good as.
So they are older people, 70 years of age and older. We know they are just so vulnerable to getting ill and dying from this vaccine.
I'm not one for exercising.
There's no evidence at all that any of the vaccines are dangerous or would kill you.
This is going to be part of the Australian way of life until everyone is vaccinated. So
It'd be a crowded planet if people didn't die.
With sufficient vaccination of the population, we can start treating COVID like a bad flu.
Well, I do have to say to some of the anti-vaxxers, I haven't developed an unfathomable love for Bill Gates in the last 20 minutes. I still think there are glitches with Microsoft Windows, but I do deeply respect what the Gates Foundation is doing on vaccination programs around the world. The world is engaged in the largest clinical trial, the largest global vaccination trial ever.
If you could just vaccinate everybody, in a week, well, fine, you would, but that's not the nature of this. So we're going to need rules, we're going to need vigilance, we're going to need an acceptance that it's not normal, it's COVID normal.
This great night to take place in the last couple of weeks,
The top of that list is the Victorian government. Without you, we could not have done this.
Driving to the factory, driving home to the factory, fucking Tony's in the traffic. Have a look at this. Fucking hell, mate. Oh, mate, this is the funniest fucking thing I've seen, mate. Tony driving home to the factory. Fuck you, Dan.
You know, so having a protest tonight, that's going to what? That's like a vaccine, is it? That's going to suddenly fix everything. No, it's not. It might well spread the virus, though, and that's not really a good thing to be doing. Point. We will not be returning to normal because there will be no vaccine in the weeks ahead. Some argue even in the months ahead. It is a long way off. And unless and until that vaccine is developed and then administered to every single Victorian, we will have to live with and embrace a COVID normal.
This is a world pandemic. It's a 1 in 100 year event. So you can expect that we will have transmission from time to time, and that's just the way it is. We've got to accept that this is the new world order.
Unfortunately, dancing, singing is amongst the most dangerous things you can do with this rather evil virus.
In Sydney to minimise any impact to the regions. More importantly, the message is for personal responsibility. If you're not feeling well, get checked before you travel to the regions.
Thank you.
5 minutes later.
Look, I'd like to start by just thanking the Northern Beaches community, of which I am part. The fact that there are still masses of people coming out to be tested is just testament to the fact that Northern Beaches community really does get the fact that we need to...
I think the whole thing's a sham. I prefer to get the fine, and stand up for what I believe in.